Right now, the clearest and the most obvious path for business growth for many organizations is integrating the different AI solutions into their operational and product development lifecycle. And there are also multiple organizations who actually build and sell these AI solutions for businesses. At the same time, the fast adopting of AI and especially AI agents may pose significant security and business risks. Looking at all of this, it reminds me the beginning of vehicle era, when it looks about 15 years from the invention of the car until road rules were actually established and adopted. So where is the balance between AI innovation and its regulatory controls? My name is Tsivyna, and I'm serve as information security manager at Star. I've spent about 14 years working in quality assurance, regulatory consulting, and information security by helping different organizations navigating complex product development environments and regulatory landscape. The trend of using AI agents makes the regulatory question even more complicated. Most AI systems were designed to have built-in safety features, but traditionally there has almost always been a human in the loop. Usually the user sees the output before anything happens, they have a chance to monitor and act, but agents are beginning to remove that pause. AI agents are working at machine speed with plenty of authority. All of this often minimize the checkpoints, reviews, or that crucial moments where a user could say, wait, what is happening? And this is actually what people are calling the autonomous shift. Because of this, we have to ask ourselves the few questions. Do we trust such system? What happens when they make a mistake? And are we ready to be responsible for this decision we might not oversee from these solutions? And if you are working on a highly regulated spheres, things become more understandable, but at the same time a lot more complicated. The good news is that you finally have a clear information about the controls and requirements your AI system is required. Right now, more and more countries and jurisdictions are actively deployed and developing regulatory frameworks for the proper usage and development of AI. For example, you probably have heard about the European Union AI Act, and we have similar AI Act in South Korea. This the second adopted such kind of regulation across the world. United States, based on different states inside the US, they have already passed their own AI laws, like Colorado AI Act, Texas AI Act, and California SB 53. So as AI becomes more integrated into different spheres, existing regulations are also actively incorporated specific controls and guidelines into their own rules. We see AI-specific requirements being added to data protection laws and sector-specific areas like finance and healthcare. And let me explain what this looks like in practice. Regulatory authorities are actively writing their own rule books for how AI should be used in their specific industries. Because of this, if you are building a product that is augmented with AI, it is no longer enough to just follow standard laws. You now have to comply with these new industry-specific rules as well. Another point to mention is security. Regulations like European Union Cyber Resilience Act, NIS2, and DORA in financial sphere make security something you are legally required to build in from the start. And they are actively incorporating AI-specific controls into their requirements as well. Then there are liability, and this is the question nobody gets to avoid, especially for highly autonomous system. The question is, when an agent causes harm, who is responsible for it? And what the context of this harm? If the product you launched or used changes over time, so it is some kind of dynamic environment, it means that the potential risk and threats will change as well. While different regulations outline what must be done to be compliant, they do not describe how it should be done. In most cases, they just refer to the specific frameworks and standards with more details. These frameworks are highly correlated and linked to each other and adds an additional means. As usual happens, there is no silver bullet, no single framework provides explicit information on exactly what to do. But in the scope of AI governance, we can logically separate these support materials into some of the groups. First of all, AI management system is like an operating system for AI governance in the organization or particularly for your product. It includes this AI management system includes different regulatory documentation like policies, rules, defined roles, accountability, and some paper trails, records about management of AI system. And this is highest level of governance, I would say. It also the one you can get certified against, and this is a very big benefit of it. It is increasingly matters because you'll have a formal confirmation document that you can show and provide your customers, your partners, that you compliance with some kind of AI regulations. In the management system, you have established all high-level rules of management and governance of the AI that you develop or you're using. If the AI management system is a structure, the second pillar is the actual work. It includes risk assessment, it includes testing biases, ensuring transparency, check the model is robust, and similar activities. So below you can see the appropriate frameworks that can help you with this. And there are a lot of standards like 23894 and 24K series, and NIST guidelines can provide you valuable insights of how to implement such kind of controls and how to manage your work in this sphere. There is also an additional sector related to data management and security. Data management is, I'd say, especially important for AI compliance. You'll need to show that the data used for training, for validation data, for validation activities is correct and what's more important, private and secured. It is worth to mention that if your organization already has some kind of ISMS related stuff like 2701 or SOC 2, you already implemented a lot of necessary AI regulations here. And finally, I put an additional group here related to AI agents. While all of the previous sections related to general AI and applicable for AI agent as well, the specific AI agent, due to its autonomous and dynamic environment, they required some specific controls. Organizations like NIST and OWASP, they provide their own frameworks specifically designed for non-human actors and highly autonomous systems. Dealing with regulatory compliance, our clients often face the problem of how to define what is particularly applicable for them, and with all of this hard-to-read documentation, it can be challenging. Talking about the AI governance, the entry point is usually product classification. For instance, European Union AI Act presents its own classification model, but the general approach, to be honest, general classification approach is highly applicable to any kind of regulations that includes AI. And the AI Act has 4 tiers of the product classification based on these risks. Starting from the beginning, those producing the product that producing minimal risk, like AI augmented games or spam filters, For those products, there are no specific regulatory obligations. Next, posing a limited risk, like general chatbots, it may be image recognition, tools for deepfakes. The AI Act defines specific requirements for them. Mostly these requirements related to transparency, details about intended purpose of such kind of product, and data usage, clear communication with the user about how to use this AI. For high-risk AI system, there is requirements for formal conformity assessment, and this includes a bunch of different technical and regulatory documentation, starting from risk assessment and ending with post-market monitoring controls included as well. So full cycle of development process, product development process, and also post-market maintenance. So this is a case where an appropriate framework and compliance strategy is must-have, because without it will be complicated to arrange to identify all necessary controls and to be compliant with the AI Act or any other AI regulations across the world. So and the final unacceptable risk or prohibited AI solutions, it means that they are completely banned from being placed on the market, and it includes some system for social scoring, exploiting security vulnerabilities, face, emotional recognition, etc. So the important notes here that the same capability can shift tires depending on the use case. The same model or chatbots used in the different context may have different tires of criticality. So this is the methodology used by AI Act, but as I said previously, the general approach for product classification remains highly valuable when identifying the level of controls, the scope of applicability, and what are requirements from the system expected from different regulations. Now let's move to the AI agent solution. The fact that the classification of the system depends on the context, it breaks the traditional classification model for highly autonomous system. And AI agents runs continuous loop like goal, reason, plan, act, and observe. So its behavior is generated in a runtime, let's say, and it has no fixed advance. So the risk comes from what the agent does when it runs, not from the purpose that you initially identified. An additional complication comes from the system spreading. Because an AI agent chain actions across multiple components, it's quite often situation, a single system can straddle several risk tiers at once. So even more, due to dynamic changes of environment, the context may change over time, which means the classification of such kind of products may change as well based on the context. Yeah? And it's complicated to identify the amount controls on the design and development stage. Sometimes it's not even possible. So this continuous process of risk assessment. Additionally, there is also a lot of uncertainty around the responsibility. If the system makes some decision, who is responsible for this? The user, the deployer of the system, or model provider or manufacturer of the system. All of these questions make AI agents compliance a highly debated and challenging task. The level of regulation complexity also highly depends on the level of autonomy. To have a better understanding of the system and requirements control, we can arrange AI system autonomy in 3 levels. The first one, like level feature, is human-centric solutions with relatively slow data processing. And on this level, this required the actual control of the human. So The level 1 is more or less like a low level risk system that highly regulated by regulation law related to human oversight, and it is easy to monitor them and identify the risk related to this tire. The next second level is more mature, I'd say. It is semi-autonomous system that still has a human in the loop, but the integrations and data processing between different components do not require dedicated human actions. And the last third level is highly autonomous system with an adaptive infrastructure designed for fast changing environment. The context of this case may change significantly. The clearest example of it is autonomous vehicles. In this case, it can be extremely challenging to predict the possible risk and potential harms it may cause. Essentially, the regulations and different regulators across the world, they expect more robust governance of the system for such highly autonomous and critical AI solutions. And there are specific areas where AI agents create additional complexity, and this is I'll start with security related stuff, that identity and authorization management, agent accounts, the permissions that typically agents work on, they have potentially they have broad access to do a multiple task. They have access to different other tools and to the data from these tools, and the possibility to push data inside to this tool. So such kind of agents that may be deeply integrated into your system, into your organization system or product system, which means that each access point becomes a serious security risk. When the agent make a decision, it's often impossible to see why, which data is used, how it was processed, what it chose. The same example of autonomous cars is highly relevant here. It can take months for manufacturers to reproduce or identify a clear scenario after some unexpected incident. Third one, this directly comes from the previous problem, is auditability. Different regulation expect you to have clear audit trails detailed in internal system actions and decision it makes. And finally, the liability, we discussed it a bit. When an agent acts autonomously, it's unclear who is responsible for decision. There are multiple actors involved, manufacturers of AI, deployers, and users, and that is namely creates some unassigned risks. And as you can imagine, this is only a part of the picture. There are many more questions like that exactly why defining compliance requirements so difficult for agentic solution. So right now it is in most of such cases is some kind of blind spot and misunderstanding from the regulation how to properly manage it, and of course from manufacturers and deployer how to properly implement them. Even though there are multiple frameworks and a lot of compliance requirements, we can identify a common, I would say, AI governance baseline that I'd say is applicable for any solutions. First of all, it's human oversight. As soon as the world is not ready for fully autonomous system in multiple spheres, there will always be a place for such kind of controls. Though it may be tricky to find the exact place and the exact solution where it needs to be implemented in the product life cycle or on post-market deployment. It is especially complicated in spreaded AI agentic solutions. The next one is transparency and traceability. They clearly state in all AI-related regulations This is a challenging and requires additional technical and design work, and it is related to both manufacturer of AI system and deployers of AI system. Manufacturers are required to create transparency and traceability features for their products. Deployers should configure and properly use them. Risk assessment is I would say, a baseline and initial step for any AI development and deployment actions. This is a approach that can provide you a clear high-level picture of potential threats, harms, and consequences. Data governance is the next crucial point, starting from training and validation and ending with the post-market production data and live data flows. For highly regulated spheres, you'll need to define and collect the appropriate evidence to show that data used for development represents the real-world state. And finally, identity and authorization controls, highly applicable for AI agentic solutions. The appropriate management of this part allows you to prevent significant security issues in the future. And we can see why this matters in recent real-world incidents where some organizations provide uncontrolled access to the AI agents and then reported significant data breach and security incident. Developing and deploying a safe AI system can be challenging and time-consuming without the right preparation, and this is exactly where STAR has an experience and competency to help. Starting from a deep analysis of our clients' goals, we can significantly reduce the effort and give them a real confidence on the solution. Beginning with the clear view of agentic AI environment and thorough identification of risk, we can establish the right framework and controls needed for any specific case. So as a result, we can be sure of building, deploying, and using AI solutions that are both safe and compliant. And hundreds of success audits across multiple industries and markets back this up. If you'd like to delve deeper into AI governance or get a specific regulatory training for your team, for your organization, we are ready to help. We have a lot of different resources available, so feel free to visit our website and you'll find more valuable materials there. Thank you, and let's keep in touch.